York Jets, so we're built for this shit.
The passion's real. Tune in every week, don't miss a snap. It's the Jets group chat pod bringing the facts. So grab your gear, let's hit the air. Jets Nation's calling, we'll meet you there. Matt, Jerry, Dennis, PJ, and Nick on track. It's the Jets group chat pod.
Welcome in, ladies and gents, once again to the Jets Group Chat Podcast. I'm your host, Matt Cardos. I'm joined tonight by my esteemed co-host, Dennis Damasio. How are we doing tonight, Den?
Pretty good. Got it ready to go.
Hell yeah. I think this is arguably, you could make an extreme argument. I mean, we've had Mike Westhoff, we've had John Abraham, we've had Rich Samini on a couple times. This might be one of the most highly anticipated episodes of the pod. We got Mr. Jannicelli, Mr. J Walks on the pod tonight. Of course, me and Jannicelli go way back. My teacher in high school, 10th grade, I think we go all the way
How many
back.
years ago was that?
So I graduated 06. I think I had you 04, so 22 years ago.
Wow.
22 years.
Yeah, I was hanging in Newark those days. It was pretty wild. So John Abraham didn't have a cold. He didn't miss the show because of a cold.
No, not.
Like
It wasn't like a
the
playoff game. Yeah, he has a better attendance record on my pod than he does in in Jets playoff games. So, but I gotta admit, I feel like an idiot all these years later. But I'm today years old when I realize that there's two N's in Jannicelli.
Nobody's ever got my name right.
I've literally written your name for 22 years, or in text, or like writing it handwriting, and always wrote it with one N. And then I tried to email you the link to hop on. You gave me your email address, and I just automatically put one N, and the email bounced back. And I was like, "What the hell's wrong with this thing?" And then I had to like spot check, and I'm like, "Holy shit! How did I never realize that there was two N's in Jannicelli?"
It's okay.
So I'm enlightened.
My grandfather's alias at Ellis Island. I'm sure that was like his second family, but that's okay. That's another story.
Another story for another pod, another year.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
And I went a whole
Jannicelli
4
was
years
my
and didn't have
history
him as a
teacher. Jannicelli was my history teacher. I don't think Dennis ever had Jannicelli, but I mean, if you went to Cartwright High School, you knew who Mr. Jannicelli was. It's hard to not know who he was.
27 years I've been there.
The voice of the Cartwright Ramblers. You still doing that? You still doing the football?
No, I gave it up. Too many days. Bosch, Mr. Bosch does it now.
Oh wow, Big Bosch.
I gave it to
behind the mic.
All-time legend.
Yeah, it is an all-time legend. He's up there for sure.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, Mr. J's obviously been around, and one thing we always bonded of how we became close, kind of when we were in school, and the 20 years that I've been out of high school is the Jets, or for better or for worse, right? So it's been mostly years of misery back then, and not much has changed all the way up to now, 20 years removed from high school. Just where do you? I mean, you could go 1,000 different directions, but like when you look at the team's existence, where they've been, where they are now, where you think they're going, just are you happy with the state of the franchise at this point in terms of like, are you optimistic? Because it feels like right now a lot of Jet fans are optimistic about the direction that it's going in, despite such a bad year. But are you one of those glass half full guys, or are you just, same old Jets until proven otherwise?
I feel like I'm Tina Turner and the Jets are Ike Turner.
Never
brings me flowers one day, the next day, not so much. I remember crying in the 82 AFC Championship game. AJ Dewey, 3 interceptions against the Jets. 86, I remember throwing up when Gasso had the 2 penalties. And then I didn't see the playoffs in my 40s.
Wow, that's tough.
The whole 40s, no playoff. Like that's.
I mean, I'm right now. I'm going through my whole 30s right now with the playoffs. So
for the young 20s. People, they weren't this bad. Like they used to be at least competitive. 80s, they were good. 90s, they had a run with Pennington. This is, I don't know what this is. Almost like the movie Major League. Like Woody wants to sell the team and move them to wherever.
It's
Think
awful.
about this: the Jets were last in the playoffs 16 years ago. I turned 21 the month that the Jets last made the playoffs. I thought I had trips to the bar, all these fun things ahead, back-to-back AFC Championship games, and I just turned 21.
That's a terrible thing to hear. We've never really watched a Jet playoff game at a bar.
Yeah, I've pretty much,
Wow.
I pretty much went the entirety of my 20s, and I'm just about almost through my 30s without a Jets playoff game. So, I mean, 40s is tough though. That's like prime fandom. Like, at least you had it like early in your life, but like 40s is tough too.
Yeah, I've seen him in a bar. Even last time was when Zemo was out, but it's
little
still at least
little Mike's Hard Lemonade.
Yeah, Mike's Hard Lemonade. Napster was big. MySpace.
Napster.
It's crazy though.
Yeah, I remember that.
When I think about where the Jets are at now in terms of like the playoff drought, like it's the longest in pro sports. That's like the butt of the joke right now. I've seen 1,000 memes, like, all these different songs have come out in the time that like the Jets have last made the playoffs. But I also think about it like the division in itself. Like I know I have a lot of friends that are like Dolphins fans, and they've been in the playoffs obviously, but they haven't won a playoff, like actually won a playoff since I think 2000. So I mean they're going on 26 years without winning a playoff game, and we're going on 15 years, 16 years without even making the playoffs. So the totality of the division is pretty miserable. That's all we know though. It's tough times.
Miami couldn't win a Super Bowl with Dan Marino.
Yeah, that's when Shula
was a little senile when he was coaching the Dolphins. He clearly wasn't in the right frame of mind. Huh?
Tua might have it for a year, but that went out the window quick.
Oh yeah. They should be good. Every young millionaire should want to go play in Miami and hang out in South Beach. Like that's the ultimate. And there's no state income tax.
Right.
They should be in the playoffs every year.
Yeah, everybody should want to go there. That should be their first destination.
Well, that's why I said when the Jets had that trade hammered out with the Chiefs 2 years, or what was that, 4 years ago now, the Tyreek Hill trade, when they simultaneously agreed to deals with the Jets and the Dolphins, and it was pretty much like similar compensation, and it was up to Tyreek Hill who he wanted to extend with. It was the Jets or the Dolphins, and like if those are the two options, in what world are you going to the Jets to
we go to East Rutherford
State and have half of your check taken away by income tax? It was never it was never a fight.
Close to Newark.
Yeah, all the great Brazilian Portuguese restaurants.
Yeah,
absolutely. Nice, I mean, I would live in the Ironbound.
You might have lived in Ironbound at one point, Jay.
Yeah, I was there. I was there a little bit too much. A decade.
But obviously the big topic of conversation right now is as we're recording here on Monday, we're 3 days out. The time everybody's going to be listening to this tomorrow, we're 2 days out from the draft. Obviously, that's another area of ire for a lot of Jets fans. Mostly misses with a couple good couple good draft hits sprinkled in here or there. But as we're a couple days out from the draft now, the Jets obviously have 2 of the top 16 picks, 4 in the top 44. What are you looking to see them do at pick number 2? I know a lot of the chatter seems to be David Bailey, Arvell Reese, one of the pass rushers. What would you like to see them do at pick 2?
You got to go. I mean, in an ideal world, I would love a wide receiver because I'm obsessed with offense, and they haven't had 2 wide receivers since Decker and Brandon Marshall.
Yeah.
They just hate wide receivers, but there's no wide receiver at 2 you should pick. And I would go with Reese. I mean, it's not. I would ideally love like an edge guy, but I think he's a new player. He's like for the future of the league, the way he's built and the way he's athletic, and he could do everything. And their defense in the offseason, they're not going to be a 3-4 or 4-3. They're going to be a bunch of different things.
Yeah, multiple fronts. Yeah.
Yeah. But at 16, get me a friggin' wide receiver. I don't care what you got to do. Get me a wide receiver. I want a first-round wide receiver. I still think when they took Garrett Wilson, they put the wrong name in by accident. I was shocked. It's like, wow, first round pick. We're gonna throw the ball. Unlike running the ball like it's 1948 all the time.
Yeah, we
Throw
don't
the
ever get
ball. I
Garrett
want to see
Wilson.
them throw the ball. I'm done with
We
this.
don't ever
Like
draft a Garrett
Army
Wilson.
Navy game stuff.
Yeah, that's the problem with this franchise too, is that it always seems that they're like 5 years behind the trends of the league, right? Like they run an archaic offense, even to right now. Like, it is it an upgrade? I don't know. It's yet to be determined. But like bringing Frank Reich in as the offensive coordinator, like it feels like Frank Reich was where the league was going 10 years ago. Like the league has even gone in another direction now, and it just feels like the Jets are always like 5 years behind where the league is going. It's like they bring in in 2019, everybody's airing the ball out, and they bring Adam Gase in, and let's run it on 3rd and 7 with Frank Gore up the gut for 3, and like let's do that 3 times in a row.
Did you hear the Le'Veon Bell thing on the podcast recently?
I did hear Le'Veon Bell
talking about how terrible he was.
It was like the worst. He said Gase was like the worst coach he's ever seen,
he's like, it's not even Sam Darnold's fault. Sam Darnold just had no idea what was going on. He's like, because these coaches were so bad.
Yeah, he said I saw the one clip. They were talking about Adam Gase, and Adam Gase, he said that the one meeting in the middle of the week, Gase came into the locker room and he's like, oh, it's supposed to rain heavy on Sunday. He's like, we have to throw the ball a minimum of 45 times. And Le'Veon Bell was like, what is this guy talking about? Like, we should be doing the opposite if it's raining,
One time they go offense and they got Adam Gase.
Exactly.
I would love an offensive coach.
Yeah.
Then again, I remember Bruce Coslett, and God rest Browning Nagel's soul.
Yeah.
Bruce probably helped put him in the grave.
Yeah, that didn't help him.
300 yards at the first game against Atlanta. Totally ruined. Eric McMillan had 10 interceptions as a rookie safety. Bruce Coslett moves him to cornerback.
Yeah, it's constant blunder after constant blunder. They could just never, whatever's right, they go left. Whatever's left, they go right. You say up, they go down. It's just constant, ineptitude. Even going back to, like you said, Jay, like they've needed offense for the last decade. They haven't had that tandem. They hit on the Garrett Wilson pick that fell into their lap. You couldn't really screw that one up. They sent the right draft card in that time. But you even get to 3 years ago, you're there. I think that was pick 14 or 15. No, maybe it was 16. And you have JSN, Jackson Smith and Jigba sitting there, and they go Will McDonald, and it's a guy that could only really be on the field on 3rd down. And 4 years later, they're still looking for that number 2 wide receiver. They've wasted money on guys like Alan Lazard, and they brought Band-Aids in, like, Devontae Adams that haven't worked out. They've been looking for that second wide receiver for 4 years. And, when they
brought a guy in who was shot last year. Like, they brought a guy in from a shooting. Like, they had 2 guys shot on the team last year. Like, that's only the Jets.
They had more guys shot than interceptions. You can believe that.
Let the Jets media office know that one. They'll probably put it on Instagram. They're so tone deaf.
So which wide receiver are you looking to get at 16?
Yeah, do you know right?
If you have,
I don't care. I want the best wide receiver. I don't care who it is. Tate, they're not going to get Tate.
Yeah,
Jordan Tyson's going to be injured all the time. Omar Cooper might be a reach to pick him there. Lemon if he's there. I want a wide receiver. I don't care. Maybe go Sadiq, tight end Sadiq, and then trade up into the end of the first round, get a wide receiver, try to build the offense. God forbid.
Talking about Denzel Boston or something, right?
I like Boston. I think Boston.
Yeah, I would take him.
I'd definitely take Denzel Boston. We need a player like that.
Yeah, depending on how it shakes out, I think I either want to see them. They're sitting at 16. If they really only like 2 or 3 of those guys, you're gonna have to move up to get one. I've seen a lot of people speculate maybe package 16 and 44 to move into the top 10 to get the guy you like. Particularly Washington. Washington, I think, is sitting at 7. They don't have a 2nd round pick, and they don't have a 4th round pick. So they're looking to get out and accumulate picks. So I think if you could get up to 7, you could probably get, if you're really high on Tate, he might probably be there at 7. Or if they're all gone, right? If all those 3 guys are gone and you like them, like Jay kind of said, like Cooper is a bit of a reach at 16. Boston's probably a bit of a reach at 16, but
Oh yeah.
I don't know. I'd be cool with trading back and going down to like 22, 24.
I want to
and get-
trade that 2 back.
Yeah, and picking up a 3rd round pick
Yeah.
in the meantime to go back, and
Go
then
back a little bit.
you still get Boston or Cooper with one of those picks,
Mhm.
and then you pick up another pick. I'd be fine with either of those. It just depends on who's left and how they have them ranked on their board. Knowing the Jets, they might not even have a wide receiver on their board. It wouldn't surprise me. Just the way that the franchise operates. We'll take a guard at 16. We'll take a corner at 33, and they'll take they'll take the 8th best wide receiver at 44 and sell it as that's the guy that they wanted the whole time. Just like
Arian Smith wasn't even on draft boards, and they traded up 4th round. It's like made a big deal like that. That was pathetic. The effort last off season.
Yeah,
not that they anybody to throw the ball, but still.
Oh, who was the dude?
He could barely get on the field.
Who was the dude that they took in the Malachi Corley, right? 2 years ago.
Oh my god, the worst attitude ever.
Or 3 years ago now. I'll never forget though they got Malachi Corley. They traded they kept wide receiver after wide receiver kept coming off the board, and everybody's like, when the hell are the Jets going to take a wide receiver? And finally, it comes like he falls to like 60 or 70, and the Jets trade up to get him. And then all the Jets do for the next week is show screenshots of the text messages between Joe Douglas and Robert Saleh saying "no matter what," meaning no matter what, they're leaving the draft with Malachi Corley. And then the guy sees like 6 snaps all year, doesn't get on the field, and that just shows you like who was running the franchise, that they're high-fiving each other.
Did he fumble that ball going into the end zone for like his first touchdown?
Yeah, the Halloween night game, I think that was on the end around.
Yeah, we were there. I was there. You weren't there that day.
Yeah, and never saw the field again after that. And now he can't even get off the practice squad on the Browns, and the Browns are just as desperate as the Jets are for any semblance of talent, and he can't play there. So if
he refused to play special teams, he thinks he's like the greatest receiver ever.
Yeah, he wanted like $1 million from Devontae Adams to give up number 17. I think Adams offered him $100K. He told him he wanted $1 million to give up the number. But he hadn't done anything in the league. It's just absurd. There's story after story after story.
Yep, there really is.
Which kind of leads me into where I want to go next. With the draft, obviously coming up, the Jets have 1,000 things that they could do, 1,000 holes that they need to fill, but obviously you can't talk about the history of the Jets without talking about the draft blunders of years past. When you look, obviously you're older than us, you have a lot more experience in terms of like the pain that you feel in the moment. But do you have like 2 or 3 of you think were like, maybe, I don't know, I'll phrase them differently. One, in the moment when the pick was made, was there one that shocked you more than anybody else, where you're like, what the hell is this team doing?
Wow, it's like looking at a phone book trying to pick out a name. Well, I used to fake a press pass Eastern Gridiron Weekly, and it was and I used to get into the draft when it was at the Garden. I had it's before the internet, and they would give me a press pass, fed me, so I was in there.
Pretty awesome.
When they picked, I've been in I interviewed Keyshawn.
Oh, no kidding.
I was on the Texans, McNair, the owner, the first year. I was like interviewing him, and I was like on NFL Films, and I totally didn't belong there.
A guy on a fake credential getting put on the TV network.
I went for years. I got fed. That's when it was like 12 o'clock on Saturday, 8 o'clock. It was bedlam. It was absolute bedlam. But I was there the year Warren Sapp was falling.
Yeah.
Warren Sapp is falling. And I saw him play at Rutgers doing sideline catches, most athletic defensive tackle ever. He's falling. He's right there for the Jets. And they picked Kyle Brady.
Yeah, I remember.
I ripped off my press pass. I went into the bathroom. They gave us transistor radios at the time. I slammed it against the wall. Then when it got real quiet, I yelled from press row, "Sell the team, Leon." That was before the current walking abortion owns the team. So the Kyle Brady pick, and Warren Sapp was crying, and I yelled at him, "You should have been a Jet. You should have been a Jet." And then if I had to highlight another pick, oof. I mean, the Hackenberg pick, I knew then that McCagnon was done. As soon as I heard the name, I went, oh, Mike McCagnon's not going to make it too long.
Yeah.
But that was they used to just forfeit second round picks just for the fun of it.
Yeah.
Like they would get tired. Yeah, they still do. They get tired after the first round. They need a nap. So they let the second round go, and then they come back in the third round. But they got to start. And then the other, oh, God, there's been so many. Vernon Golston, but I liked that pick at the time.
I did too.
Oh,
in defense, I loved the Golston pick at the time.
This is the other pick. And it brings up Browning Nagel. They wanted Atlanta. They wanted Brett Favre so bad, the Jets. Everybody knew they wanted that year. They wanted Brett Favre. So I was 10 years old. I wasn't the brightest 10 years old. So I was just a little common sense. So if you want him, trade up for him. The Falcons picked him in the second round. Dick Steinberg, rest his soul, was the Jets GM. He died too. He failed to trade up to get Brett Favre, and they picked Browning Nagel. So that's what pissed me off at the time. Oh, then when they picked Jeff Lageman over Andre Rison, me and my father just walked out of the house. My financial advisor's here, but he's just here to visit. Let me say hello. Hello, financial advisor.
Hello, Michael. How are you?
It's a nice vest.
Thank you very much.
It really is.
Thank you.
Good fabric. Yeah. So I have a pretty wide open apartment. It's
well, when
I usually don't do podcasts, but this is fun.
when you're
read the books too.
When you're making as much money in endorsements doing Mr. J walks, you know you have to have somebody to spread the salad around. You know.
I have a financial advisor for my financial advisor. That's how much I make.
Yeah.
It's just it's so lucrative.
How did that start? I've got to ask you. How did you who's the brainchild behind Mr. J walks?
Mr. Bergbauer, John Bergbauer, teacher at the high school.
Yeah,
got a page on Instagram, Carter class of 2028, and he said we want to do a show where you interview people. So I started interviewing people, and I went in the community through all the businesses, and Carteret businesses are the best. They're fascinating. The Roosevelt Bagel guy's phenomenal.
He's the best. He really is. Does so much.
He Narcaned the guy on Instagram. But we can't do that. They told us we can't do that. So we're not doing that. Don't worry about Narcanning anybody. But no, we're gonna get you guys on 100%.
Yeah, can't wait. We'll set that up for
whatever
sure.
day you want. We'll get you on. I also do a food show at Mrs. D. Pasquale, the vice principal.
Yeah.
So it's fun. You know, it's
you guys make the
not
food
quantity of followers, it's the quality of followers.
That's right. You're worldwide. You're hitting.
And each follower is vetted and vetted, so we have the best.
And then how often do you guys do that? What do you do? Like one every couple weeks, one every few weeks?
One every week, one every 2 weeks. I wrestled Vega, the wrestling coach. I was in a singlet.
Who's the longest tenured teacher left in Carteret High at this point? You're up there?
I'm up there. Alcace's up there. Mesa's up there. Grace Kuna is still there.
Oh yeah, Miss Kuna. Yep.
And she was the athletic director when
How long
Joe
have you
DiMaggio was playing. Ducky Medwick.
How long have you been in Carteret?
27 years.
27.
Wow, 27. And I've been at a high school for 20. So that's crazy. You were there for 7 years before I even got there.
Yeah, that was a wild place. We can't tell any stories, obviously, but
there's that's a
they're off the camera.
That we don't have FCC clearance to tell those stories.
That's for late night.
Yeah, I don't think YouTube would even allow us to put them up there if we wanted to.
No, I tried. They blocked it.
So how many years? I know you've gotten rid of them. We've talked since, but no more season tickets. But how long did you have them?
I had them since they moved to Giant Stadium. My father wouldn't take me to Shea because he said it was the biggest disaster ever. And then I gave them up. My father died. He's pretty lucky he didn't have to see this crap. But my father died, and then I took over the tickets, and I'm going, what am I doing? What is this? The stadium is atrocious. as everybody coming in for the World Cup's going to find out what a disaster it's going to be.
That's going to be a train wreck.
It's
literally.
It sounds awful. Yeah.
So I mean, it's the stadium did not. The first time I visited, you visit a house, you're looking to buy a house, you're like impressed. I went in that place, I was like, this is the best you could do. So uninspiring. It's just dull.
Yeah, there's no personality to it. There's nothing when you arrive there that you're like, oh, this is where the Jets play, or this is where the Giants.
So they give you those wrist
there's
things that make the color.
Yeah, there's
they do a good job with the wristbands. That's where their strength is. Wristbands.
Yeah.
And how to touch social media pages.
Yeah, that's
I gave him up. Every game was 6-3. And the other thing, the stadium is filled with opposing teams' fans.
Oh yeah.
Giant Stadium, there would be like one section with all the fans. This is like the whole stadium.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I still have season tickets. I sit in the first row in the upper deck in the corner of the end zone, and I feel like the people next to me, like the seats change every year. Like, nobody keeps the tickets for longer than a year. And this past year, I don't know who bought the tickets, but it had to have been a foreign entity of some sort. But every game,
Iran.
Every game, the four seats to the right of me were people from another country, like at their first NFL game, that had no idea what they were watching. And they would turn to me and like ask me what the rules of the game are. And, I found myself explaining the NFL. Like, but these are the type of people that are going to the Jets games now. Like, you don't have the people like me, you, Dennis, that are like showing up every week. You either have like travel agencies or, just giving tickets to people to go check something out as a tourist trap, or you have the opposing team. I can't tell you how many games like the people around me are from the other team that are there, and they have the numbers, like they have the advantage of, and that's the thing too. Like having season tickets now, there's not even really a return on your investment. Like they don't win, and if you want to sell them because you can't make it, you don't even make your money back. Like you're selling them for half of face value just to get rid of them. So it's made the experience just so terrible, and it all changes with winning, right? That's the only way any of it changes is you have to start winning. You can't be this bad. You can't be this bad for this long unless there are deep stemming issues, and the faces have changed, the coaches have changed, the players have changed, the scouts have changed. Everything has changed. The one constant is, as we'll see from the hippie library, no more tears. Johnson & Johnson vehicle.
I'll be reading this next. Woody's not in this because he had nothing to do with the success of Johnson & Johnson.
Yeah, he hasn't had much to do with the success of anything, as we can tell.
He screwed up the ambassador job. That's the easiest job on planet Earth.
Was hoping he didn't, so he could stay there.
Yeah.
And
he wasn't
his
on
brother
the
screwed it up
file,
too.
so he can't
They
get
should give him another chance. Give him a second opportunity.
Who, his brother?
No, give him another chance.
Oh, Woody at the ambassadorship?
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, Dennis, you got a big heart. I like that. You always were kind.
But I think it's also like it feels a little bit surprising because when Leon died, obviously, and he kind of left Parcells the keys to everything, and it seemed like he had the vision. But once Leon left, he didn't want to do it. He left Belichick. Obviously, that's at the top of the blunders of the organization, or black eye moments, embarrassing moments, whatever you want to call them. But the Belichick, writing the note on a napkin at his intro presser that he's leaving. That's right up there. That's where everything kind of swung. But those first 6 or 7 years when Woody Johnson took ownership, they were, largely successful. They made the playoffs in 01, 02, 04, 06, 08, 09. So, like 5 of the first 7 or 8 years that Woody owned the team, they were in the playoffs. We were, we didn't go far other than the 2 championship runs, but they were competitive. They were a respectable franchise. And then I don't know what clicked, but I've thought about it a lot. It takes a while to like completely flip a franchise. I feel like a lot of those pieces and the leadership that was still there that Woody won with in those early days were, Leon holdovers and guys that, they brought Al Groh initially. And, it's like maybe Woody wasn't responsible for a lot of that success and those good decisions in the early end. It was a lot of people that might have been there already.
Well, I think Belichick didn't come because he knew something about Woody. Something about Woody turned him off. I think it would have stayed if Leon was the owner.
Oh, 100%, 1,000%. If Leon doesn't pass away, I think Belichick stays on board as the Jets coach, and I mean it's one of the great of all time, right? If Belichick doesn't leave for the Patriots, how do the fortunes of those two franchises change?
Then Mo Lewis hits Tom Brady.
Yep. Yeah, that was that was the first game out of 9/11, right? That was the first game after 9/11. There was no football for a week or two, and they came out of that long layoff. And
such an exciting hit at the time.
Yeah, I mean, I was fired up about it, and who like that could only happen to the Jets. You knock a Pro Bowl guy out to bring in like a 7th round guy that nobody has ever heard of, and he goes on to be the greatest thing of all time. Which you might never find out about it if the Jets don't knock the guy out. You might never know.
Mm-hmm. Nah, you could be like an arena league coach right now. Nobody would ever played 5 years in the league, bounced around 8 teams. It's like he's Schuler.
Yeah, he would have been like, yeah, exactly. He's Schuler's a good one, yeah. But it's just you could write a book. You probably should write a book, Jay, about all the Jets blunders.
Well, there was a book, Gangrene, that was in the early 90s by the New York Times, Jerry Eskenazi.
Mm-hmm.
But they definitely have a lot since the early 90s. Holy Lord. They have volumes. It's like the Torah or the Talmud. There's just scrolls. You could do scrolls, endless scrolls of just misery and terrible decision-making and draft choices and endless.
Beyond the draft, I'm going to let you go here in a few. I don't want to keep you too long, but we could go on for hours. But if you had to look back, and again, I don't know if I could, so I'm kind of putting you on the spot, but not even draft related. But can you pick a moment that you think is like the low point of your fandom as the Jets fan, like where one thing happened and you're just like, this is something beyond just a bad team. This is like curse-like, where nobody.
Well, I was in this stadium for Testaverde.
The Achilles.
Yeah.
I feel like Rodgers is honestly higher than that. Like Rodgers has to be up there.
I'm gonna send you the screenshot. I'm not making this up. I texted Mr. Panos, Nick Panos, before the game that night. He said, because I was in the stadium for Testaverde, he said Aaron Rodgers torn Achilles. 2nd play from scrimmage. It was the 4th play. But so
Nostradamus? You predicted it?
Nostradamus, yeah. So
Nostradamus.
I think the low point 86 was the toughest loss because they would have beat Denver and they would have played the Giants. But definitely the low point, Testaverde got hurt. That was because they were going to go to the Super Bowl that year. That's the low point where I was like, there's something bad, some bad JoJo going on.
And if you remember that year, that Testaverde year, he blows the Achilles in the first half of that game against the Patriots. They actually go to Tom Tupa. I
had a Tupa jersey.
Did you really?
Yeah, I used to get punter and kicker jerseys. I had Mike Nugent.
You still have it? I know. I remember you had a Mike Nugent jersey. I actually have a picture with you in a Mike Nugent jersey.
2nd round pick.
Do you still have the Tom Tupa jersey?
No.
I was going to say the fact that you're not wearing
it. Tailgate.
Get that send that one and get it signed.
If you're not wearing that while you're on this podcast, I was going to say you're doing it all wrong, but you don't have it anymore, so it's all forgiven.
I'll go on eBay.
Yeah. Oh, I might do the same actually. But yeah, if you remember that year, they go to Tupa, and right after that, they go to Rick Meyer. I remember this, and like Meyer was awful. He was like kind of a.
He looked scared. His eyes. He was scared. He had big eyes.
But yeah. But yeah, that's who they bring in, and they rode with him for 4 or 5 weeks I think they started 0-4 or 0-5 or something like that. And then they finally decided to, go to Ray Lucas. And I think they won like 6 out of 7 or 7 out of 8 or something to end the year. And they only missed the playoffs by a game that year. But it just goes to show you, like, they ran with like a special teams guy who was like a gadget kind of quarterback towards the end of the year. And they still went 8-8 that year. Yet where
if he went to Lucas one game earlier, they would have made the playoffs.
Yeah, and if Vinny stays healthy that whole year, that team wins, probably 12 or 13 games at a minimum. They went 12-4 the year before. If Vinny's healthy that whole year, they but it's again just another one of those what ifs. But
it's endless.
Yeah,
scrolls.
Yeah, we could probably do a top 250 list, which I obviously wouldn't be it'd kind of be a fun project to kind of put together. But yeah, just thinking about it now, that Aaron Rodgers Achilles game, that's up there for me because the excitement and the hoopla that was surrounding the Jets, you felt like they were finally out of the depths of despair. They, the guy's a year removed from winning the 3 MVPs in a row. He wanted to come here. He forced his way here. All the young players were clicking at the same time. You had Breece Hall, Garrett Wilson, Sauce Gardner all on rookie deals, and you're like, finally, this is it. This is the moment where the thing turns around where, 12, 13 years of no playoffs, it's going to turn. And that place was as loud. That dump was as loud as it's ever been in my years of going there. And it was just deflated. As soon as he went down, you knew. And then he gets out, gets on the cart and goes into the locker room. Once he went on the cart, I was like, yeah, he's done. Yeah. And I thought for sure we might never see him at all. Like I thought there was a solid chance he would just retire after that. And like the Jets, we would have had all that excitement and you never see the guy play. You'd see him play 3 plays and that would be it. But we could go on forever, Jay.
Yes, we could.
But I'm going to let you roll. I appreciate you hopping on just to kind of,
guys, hit me up so we come on Mr. J Walks. We'll set up today.
I was already going back and forth with your booking agent to figure it out. It won't be this week, but definitely in the next week or two, I'm going to try to get over there to hop on.
You guys are crushing it. I'm watching. You guys are amazing. Just don't change anything.
Appreciate you, Jay. Thank you for hopping on, sir. We'll talk to you soon.
Homies. Much
yes,
love.
Sir. Yes, sir.
Later.
Well, always interesting talking to interesting to talk to Mr. Jannicelli. Obviously, one of the the good diehard Jet fans that I know has a unique style of his delivery and ranting. He reminds everybody says they remind him of Joe Beningo a little bit. The way he kind of goes on.
I can see that.
Yeah, I could see it too. So always good to catch up with him. And like I said, we're going to try to get on his. We're going to try to get on his little web show, Mr. J Walks, here in a couple weeks. But as we talked about with Jay, we have the draft now. We're 2-3 days out. It seems like both of you and I, we were at the Badlands pre-draft event last weekend or whatever, and at that point, I think we both got interviewed separately by different, content creators. You were on with Bree, and I was on with NY Jets Media or whatever, and they both asked us both who we thought the Jets pick would be, and we both were in lockstep that we thought it would be Arvell Reese at pick 2. But if you remember, just that was 10 days ago or a week and a half ago, and at that point, that's where all the money was starting to lean heavily in David Bailey's way. And we both stood steadfast because I just didn't buy it. I just didn't buy, it was always Arvell Reese. 10 days before it switched all of a sudden heavily to David Bailey. Everybody had the same phrasing in their reporting. The Jets were going to go with the safe pick. I don't even know if David Bailey is the safer of the 2 picks, to be honest with you. Like, he's a guy that can only be on the field on 3rd down. He can't stop the run. There's some questions about his bend. I know everybody says he has clean character issues, but he's had that issue with the cameraman after that one game last year where, got in an altercation with the cameraman. So you don't know fully what that's about. But, I don't really have any of those questions about Arvell Reese. And, you're going a little bit off of projection for Arvell Reese in terms of a pass rusher. As a floor, he's a fine off-ball linebacker at his worst, upper level off ball linebacker, which there's definitely a role for that in the league.
Versatile.
Yeah, exactly. He could stop the run. He's a maniac. He's fast. But in the limited edge reps that he did have, if you watch him on tape, yeah, he gets you jacked up. And the limited edge rushes that he has on tape, he could get to the quarterback if I think if he adds some weight, 10 or 15 pounds, which he's going to do over the next couple of years. And you have Carl Dunbar back here with the Jets, who I think could really he has a specialty in kind of developing those edges.
Mm-hmm.
And I just feel a lot safer about, long term the Arvell Reese pick. I think if they pick Bailey, like whatever, I think he's a very similar like projection to like Will McDonald. Like he's strictly like a pass rush specialist. He's a guy you're going to put in on third down. Yeah, he's a guy you're going to put on third down, get to the quarterback, take him off the field. Where like Arvell Reese could impact the game so many different ways. And there's a good possibility in a year or maybe even this year. It depends, how quickly he can meet that ceiling, that he's just as good of an edge rusher as David Bailey is. I mean, he has the tools to be that. And so it definitely seems now like the money now has gone back to Arvell Reese to where it almost seems like a heavy, it'd be an upset at this point if Arvell Reese wasn't the pick. I even listened to Todd McShay, Todd McShay was one of those first guys who said that he's hearing David Bailey. David Bailey's going to be the pick. His last two mock drafts, he's had David Bailey as the pick. And then in his podcast that he dropped today, he's saying that Arvell Reese is going to be the pick at 2. Everything he's hearing, it's Arvell Reese. In his new mock draft, it's Arvell Reese, just like it's always been. I told you in the video, it's easy money. Put money on Arvell Reese. It's free money. I hope you listened to us 10 days ago. Yeah, I hope you listened to us 10 days ago and threw money on Arvell Reese when he was like plus 120.
I still want to trade the pick back. I keep saying it.
I get it, but like, who's trading up?
No, somebody's got to want to come up to get it, and somebody's got to want him a lot. And I don't know if anybody wants
and I think there are. I think there are teams who would want him bad, but say like the team that comes to mind for me is Dallas at pick 12. Dallas has pick 12 and pick 20.
You get both of them.
You get both of them, but then you're going back 10 spots and 18 spots. That's like, and this isn't really considered a good blue chip prospect draft.
It is.
Anyway,
I was thinking about that with Dallas because that is a lot. You're going from getting one of the best players to trying to pick from a little leftover potential.
Yeah, right. You could get some good players that are going to play in the league and they fill holes. And I'm not saying that that's the worst thing in the world. But I think where the Jets are at right now, they need as many blue chip, talented, Pro Bowl caliber players as they can get, especially when you had 2 of them. You just traded them this past year to get draft capital. You had Quinnen Williams, who's one of the best D tackles in the league. You traded him. Sauce is, a top, I don't know, whatever you want to say. That's another pod for another day, but top 7, top 8 corner in the league on a guy that just signed an extension to stay with you. So you trade the 2 blue chip guys you have. The only one you really have left is Garrett Wilson. And if you want to make the argument that Breece Hall can be that guy, sure. Like I'll listen. But you have like 1.5 blue chip players on your team. And you need a lot more than that. And you got to start accumulating those.
Are you on board with Jannicelli getting a wide receiver at the 16?
That's what I think they should do. Yeah. I know I've seen a couple mock drafts where some people want them to go corner at 16. I would not be happy with that. Especially you just had Sauce Gardner. Yeah, like
I've been saying it for weeks.
You just had Sauce Gardner. You traded him for draft capital, and then you're going to use one of those picks to replace a corner that's probably not going to be as good as Sauce Gardner. So I just don't like the logic, especially when you've invested so much in the cornerback position in the last 2 years where, they gave Stevens a lot of money. You traded for Jarvis Brownlee. You took Isaiah Thomas, AZ Thomas. You took him with a 3rd round pick last year.
Number 1.
Yeah, and then they just gave short-term deal, but they just signed a corner from the Bears who led the league in interceptions last year. So like, they've already invested a decent amount in the corner position in the last year to where like, do they need one? Sure, I think they still need another impact corner, and they should take one in the draft. But like, I don't want to take a corner with one of those top, at least not one of the 1st round picks, but. If you're telling me at like pick 33 or pick 44, you're going to get the, I don't know, 3rd, 4th, or 5th best corner in the draft. Like, I'd sign up for that. Like, I think that there's a spot on the roster for that.
Yeah, could do that too.
But when your team is, inept as the Jets have been offensively, especially at the wide receiver position, especially now you have Geno Smith back. Say what you want about Geno. He's a competent guy that one thing you could count him to do, whatever he's going to do, you could hang your hat on the fact that he's going to throw the ball down the field a lot. He's still got the arm talent. That's what his calling card is. He's going to let it loose.
That's true.
And so you have Garrett Wilson. You have Garrett Wilson. You have A.D. Mitchell on the one side. I think A.D. Mitchell would slot in perfect as a number 3 guy if you had a good number 2 to kind of split that up a little bit. And so I think they really don't have a choice at 16, or as I kind of said with Jannicelli, I think they either have to move up into the top 10 to get the guy that they want, because I don't know that one of Tyson, Lemon, or Tate are going to be there at 16. So they may have to, package that 44 and maybe a 4th round pick to move up with Washington. Or if they stand pat and, they could probably move back a little bit and end up with Cooper, which I'd be okay with, or Boston. I'm actually pretty high on Boston.
I like Boston a lot.
He reminds me of like Drake London size, kind of like Michael Pittman size, like big kind of downfield body guy, good ball control, good ball skills. Again, is he, would he take one of those guys at 16? I think that's probably overdrafting them a little bit. But I'd be cool with trying to move down a little bit for a team that maybe needs a guard or an offensive lineman that's falling. And, if you could go down from 16 to like 20 or 21 and still get yourself those wide receivers, like I'd be cool with that. So either way,
wide receiver later on, Chris Bell. That's like
I like
sleeper.
Bell a lot. I think one of those picks at like 44, like I've seen him mocked to the Jets at like pick 44.
He's big body too, but he can move.
Louisville? Is Louisville?
Yeah, Louisville.
Yeah. And I honestly don't think the Jets should be opposed to doubling up at wide receiver either. Like if you go wide receiver at 16, like if you keep all 4 picks and go wide receiver at 16 organically and get one of the guys you want, like I don't think that should stop you from taking another wide receiver either at 33
or 54. Find another one that you like.
Yeah, like I think they're that desperate at wide receiver, and they've spent so much of their draft capital in the last bunch of years at on defense. They spent all of their money on free agency on the defensive side. They didn't bring in anybody on all the offensive side of the ball other than Geno Smith. Everybody else was a defensive upgrade other than the guard Parnham, but they didn't bring any skill positions on offense. So I think they should use a lot of that premium capital on the offensive side to kind of supplement what they have and just raise the ceiling of the roster. I think that's what they need to do. So I think I'm locking it in though. I think pick 2 Arvell Reese for sure. You on board with that?
I'm on board with that.
And then 16. If you had a assuming there's no trades, like just for the sake of this exercise, no trades, they stay at 16. Who's there? Who are they picking?
Well, I said I wanted the cornerback, but I always like Mekhi Lemon as well. So if we're gonna go wide receiver, I'll go Mekhi Lemon.
Same. I'm on board with you. I have a feeling he's going to be there. I think he's sliding a little bit. I think he's going to be there, and I think he's going to be the pick. But I don't think it's crazy that if he is gone for, whatever reason, if he goes, Baltimore, there's so many teams that could hypothetically go wide receiver ahead of the Jets, the Dolphins, the Rams, the Giants now have 2 picks in the top 10. Baltimore could always go wide receiver. So there, Tampa Bay could go receiver without Mike Evans there. I wouldn't be opposed to, ideally I'd like to trade down, but I wouldn't be opposed to going Boston at 16 if all 3 receivers are gone. I think there's a shot that happens. I think there's even a shot 4 of them are gone. I think Cooper could be gone by 16 as well.
And that's David Boston's son, right?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
I think so. Don't quote me on that, but I think so.
I think so.
And I even think it sounds like Sadiq might be gone at 16. So, you might have 4 wide receivers gone, the tight end gone. And, that's the bulk of the skill position guys that you want. So they might be, they might be forced to go Boston if everybody else is gone. But it's going to be fascinating for sure. It always is as a Jets fan on draft night.
Can't wait.
Yes, sir. All right, then. Well, I appreciate you hopping on. Appreciate everybody for tuning in and listening. Special thanks to Mr. Jannicelli for hopping on to talk to us for a little bit. And just before we wrap, just want to send a quick shout out and just let you know we're thinking of our co-host Nick Bandoni, who lost his father this past week, Joe, who was a huge Jet fan, big staple of our tailgate. So, Nick, if you're listening, just know we're thinking of you, brother. We're thinking of you and your dad and your whole family.
Gonna miss him.
Send you guys lots of love. I know Jets Nation took a big hit this week, so we're thinking of you, sending you lots of love, man. But don't forget, like, subscribe, YouTube, Spotify, Apple Pods, all the places you can get your podcast. Follow us on Instagram, Twitter. We're constantly, putting out content on those places. So we'll be back at some point, either over the weekend or early next week, to kind of recap the draft and on what the Jets did. And hopefully we're happy with the picks. Hopefully, Arvell Reese ends up in the green and white like we expect. And for once, it'd be nice to walk out of draft night happy. So appreciate you all listening. Dennis, we'll be in touch. I'll talk to you soon, brother.
Later.